Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with the colleagues today.
I'm Nate.
I'm Dave.
Ryan.
And today we're going to bring you another MageForge. And this is where we usually just create a magic item for you to add to your 5th edition game. And my concept for this is a universal focus. Every spellcasting class has got, some little doodad, trinket, something or other that they can use as a focus. Well, what happens if there would be a magic item that could be used by any class, but then beyond that had some other kind of special ability?
So, first of all, there is precedent for this magic item. Staff of the Magi, Staff of Power, Rod of the Oath Keeper? Is the Warlock one.
Yeah,
Pact.
well, that one is, but that one solely can only be used by Warlock.
No, I know. The other
Okay.
ones are pretty specific as well.
Okay, all right.
I'm just pointing out that there's several magic items that are technically arcane.
That are focused.
Focuses.
Okay.
So there's precedent, and the reason why I bring it up is because that means so first of all, this is a magic item that can have a +1, 2, or 3, and that bonus is actually going to be a bonus to hit with spells that require to your spell attack roll, and it increases the DC
By that number as well.
by that number as well. So right there, it requires attunement. And it's already a decent thing because it makes you a more powerful spellcaster, and you do not have to use your components now.
Correct.
Is that just good enough? Like that's pretty good. Because like Rod of the Oathkeeper, what else does that do?
It lets you get a spell back once per day.
Yeah.
I don't even think it just might require an action.
Sounds like equivalent to an arcane recovery in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
It just gives you an extra
But
use.
getting a Warlock,
So-
spell back is like, oh, look at that.
That's huge. And then if you want to talk, Staff of the Magi or Staff of Power, you're getting a lot of stuff.
Right.
And they're the three I'm thinking off the top of my head. But that being said, that it can be a focus for any caster class. So I don't think it's not like a mutable thing like we've talked about before. It's a set thing that anybody can use.
It's any caster, can use it, is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. So that being said,
What is it? What does it look like?
Yeah, druids have like mistletoe and stuff, and the bard has his instrument. The warlock, can use any of the arcane focuses, which are orbs, rods, staffs, wands.
Alright, so this is my vote. I say it's an orb that you could attach to a staff or something, or a rod or whatever. But it's an orb that looks like a miniature world.
I was going with crystal.
I was going to go with something that is not actually a focus for any of the classes.
A circlet. I was thinking a circlet that somebody would just wear, or a pendant.
A circlet or a pendant. I was thinking like a ring or something. But I guess any of them. It doesn't really matter so much. I just kind of like the idea of it not being a standard one of any of the standard focuses.
And I like that idea as well. I mean, I had toyed around with the idea of an orb, and I'm like, oh, what about some kind of crystal that that doesn't fit into any of the.
Or what if it's a custom ion stone? That's a crystal, yeah. But yeah,
That's not bad.
That's definitely not bad. Are we going to do the float around your head iron stone?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Why not?
Okay.
As much as I hate it.
As much as I hate it, yeah. So, okay, and maybe it has the property of, maybe it does change a little bit according to what kind of caster you are. Just something, maybe, so like it's a carved stone or gem, and the way it look is, the look is like predetermined by what kind of caster you are. Like,
or it could just be the wielder, like the individual, like it manifests in something that's relevant to the wielder.
well, I was saying like a bard, maybe it manifests itself in like a music
note.
a music note, or
Yeah, well, so like a carved music note.
yeah, or like a warlock. Maybe it becomes a fiend pack warlock. Maybe
a little
crystallized
thing of fire.
flame
Yep.
looking thing.
Or coal with like some sparks coming off of it or something like that.
Yeah, it's not. Whatever. Something that's interesting. Druid. We don't want to do mistletoe because everyone will be trying to kiss him. And
That's
it's
true.
just,
It's
Could be a leaf or a berry or
a hummingbird.
How
hummingbird.
about a bird egg?
Egg, yeah.
Well, I was just thinking like a little crystalline hummingbird or something like that.
so yeah, something right. Well, something that just represents nature.
I just think it should be very like the player gets to determine the shape of it.
Oh, better yet, let's merge these ideas, right? It is actually like a clear crystal, but like it's a crystal with something etched inside of it.
Okay, like one of those things.
Like
Yeah,
like a holograph looking kind of feel. to it.
Yeah, and the player could actually choose what that thing is relevant to
the
their
character.
their profession.
I like that better than it morphing into something.
I think so too. So who made this thing? Where did they come from?
Where are they going?
I would imagine it had to be created by somebody who was a caster of multiple things. Like it's like, well, I don't want to have to be carrying around 17.
Oh, that's true. It makes it super powerful for multi-class casters.
Right.
Yeah, so like maybe it's like one of the long-lived races. Like maybe it was an elf that like had like 3 spellcasting classes. Like maybe 2 of them like
druid,
overlapped.
Cleric?
What is it?
Wizard, druid, cleric, something like that.
Or bard, wizard.
Yeah.
Sorcerer.
So
No, I like the idea of doing
different ones.
all 3 of the mentals. So if you've got, I'm keen on druid, sorcerer, and wizard.
I think that's a good combo. Because doesn't bard use their musical instrument?
They could do oratory. They don't
Okay.
have to do that.
So we
And
can
also
do
maybe
so-
for bards it makes noise.
sorcerer,
like
bard.
chimes or something.
I'm open to either. It both fits for an elf in my opinion.
I like bard because I feel like of all they're more whimsical, more exploration, and
so they would want to learn
So
other classes.
druid,
just
wizard,
to-
bard. Do we like that?
druid, wizard, bard.
So is he a hermit?
Yeah.
Druid hermit type of guy.
Well, yeah, maybe maybe that was his secret, that he discovered, how to make this thing, and once he's done it, it can get reverse engineered and others can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one that was ever made, that's the +3, the legendary item.
And then it's diminishing returns from there.
Yeah, everyone else just not quite as good. So we've established
Also, too, like his absolute understanding of magic is what makes it so good and work so well. Like that's why he was able to make this one.
Circle of Land Druid, probably, either illusion, enchantment, or diviner.
He was an enchanter or a diviner.
Yeah, and then a bard as well. So College of Lore, obviously.
College of Lore. He's got expertise in Arcana.
Wizard, transmutationist?
Transmuter, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Or
enchantment.
illusion. Oh, okay. We're saying
Because the idea of making enchantments. So, and it goes together well with being a bard.
Right.
But our version of enchanter, where you don't remember you've been charmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we should probably give it like a power.
Right. That's so it's the main one is a +3. It's a universal focus. It morphs to some extent, but what else can it do?
Yeah. So I guess the idea too is it's not a true ion stone. It just mimics.
It mimics that quality.
That quality of
it
it,
does
I
not
think.
improve any stats.
Well, there's
Ions
ones
do a lot of
there's
different
ones that
stuff.
let you breathe without oxygen. Like,
Or, you'll, I think, live out your natural lifespan or something.
So but the idea is someone's gonna think it's an ion stone, but it's not actually. It's the stone of the self that created it.
Right.
Who we should name.
We should
Ted shouldn't name him.
Ted shouldn't.
I don't like Ted's elf's names.
If
They're too long.
elf names need 4 syllables. That's my.
it's a rule.
For a short elf name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, that's
they
his first
can't
name.
all be Kelson on Alvile.
That's his first name, right?
That's not counting his middle name or his house name. It's the stone of Eve.
Eve.
Not to be confused with the stone of Eve. That is completely different.
Okay, gotcha.
So what do we want this thing to do? I mean, we don't want to just regurgitate something that the other ones do.
Right.
So we already
Well-
have another casting of a spell.
Well, if this guy is this potent of a caster, and he's going to create this unique artifact, legendary item, whatever you want to refer to it as, he's got to imbue it with some kind of thing that is either going to be of useful or interest to him. So a druid, wizard, bard, what kind of ability would he be seeking to have?
I think a really cool ability would be able to cast spells of your casting potential that you couldn't normally learn because you're let's say you're 5th level druid and you've only got 3rd level druid spells, but you're really a 15th level caster. Well, there's other levels of spells that you would normally have access to as a druid. I mean, not getting rid of your multi-class problem that you have, but maybe selecting one of each of the classes that you are that's a higher level than what you actually normally can cast.
I think that is way too good.
That is quite potent.
Especially like for a non charged item.
Right.
You know, a lot of the charge, like, you know, because you look at, like, if you look at Staff of the Magic, Staff of Power, they grant you that kind of stuff.
Then they have charges on them.
And they have charges on them. So I'm looking at, like, this guy is a creator. He, you know, he is a hoarder, well, maybe not a hoarder, but a seeker of knowledge and information.
Right.
So-
what about something, you know, I'm gonna spitball stuff, you know, something dealing with like our arcane sight, like he can actually see
True
you know,
sight.
magical formula like in item creation. So if he sees a magic item, like he can study it and literally just, there you go, there's the formula of how to make it.
Yeah, I
So
kind
it
of like that.
analyzes it. Maybe it gives you advantage to checks to like figure out the formulae of an arcane item. I mean, not that the DCs are really made up and set.
Yeah,
but-
there's not a thing for that, but like, you know, maybe like, you know, if you spend X amount of time at, you know, with the item analyzing a magic item, you can write the formula for it.
So here's the thing, like, so the highest DCs in this game are DC 30.
Right.
In this edition of the game. So I would almost think, because you don't want rampant magic items running around your campaign world, that like you would want to make the Arcana check to figure out the formula be the highest you can get, a 30. So it giving you an advantage in being a super high level caster and having all these things going for you, that like the check to figure out the formula is a 30. He's got advantage to the roll, so he figures it out. Because he's already got expertise, he's going to have a fairly high intelligence and stuff like that. So it gives you a much better chance to deduce the formulae of things.
Well, I don't think you can really just blanket say it's a DC 30 because, you know, you have common, uncommon, rare, very rare, legendary. So I almost feel like, well, legendary...
It should scale beyond the 30? Like,
No, it's 30 is the end.
Yeah, so like to figure out a legendary is a 30. Well, what can you, okay, so you can have an intelligence.
but it should be super difficult, because otherwise, I know formulas, I'm just going to make magic items and like
But it's not
break
it's
the game.
not, you know, it's
Well, you still have to make them, and like, what does that formula say? Like, are you? You could definitely go back to AD&D and be like, you got to actually become. It's almost like a quest to make a magic item, not 3.5 where I just churn them out.
I spend money
Insert
and all of a
XP
sudden
and money. Get out magic item.
No, you might have to go to Mordor, scoop out the melted ring, and you know, take that and put
so
it
you
on
got-
a unicorn horn.
it's legendary, very rare, rare, uncommon, common.
Yes.
So, you know, typically things scale by 5. What if we said, you know, things scaled by 2? So it goes like is that 20 to 30? 20, 22, 24, 26, 20.
Yeah, because you're
20,
talking about like a 20 to be able to learn how to brew a potion. And we're not saying, and it's also saying like, and here's the other thing, like maybe you can figure out a formula, you know, once a week or once a month. It doesn't have to be like at will either.
And you know, just because you have the formula doesn't mean you now have all of the components.
Yeah.
You know, you still need to get them. And
You want to make it the pain in the ass, Dungeon Masters.
well, I mean, that's up to each GM to figure out. You know, there's some avenues of thought that you literally just say, well, I've got the gold, can I just do this? Whereas other
It's like a magic item ATM machine.
you know, other DMs really prefer the, okay, well, you know, I don't want to make this as prevalent, so
Once an
all right.
eclipse under a blue moon.
Well, I mean, not even that far, but it's like, all right, well, if you want to do this, you know, you're going to have to go find that one, you know, incredibly rare component to make this thing, and yeah, you're going to have to convince your adventuring companions to sidetrack their quest to go into the swamp and, you know, find this, you know, this blue flower that's going to bloom once a month, you know, whatever.
Like, you know, I like, you know, Crystal Shard, creating Aegis Fang, that kind of feel to making a magic item where it's felt like he did something.
When Brunar created the hammer.
Yeah, it felt like he did something extraordinary and very cool. 3.5 made it feel like making magic items.
It made it mundane. It made
it's
the
like
magic
baking
mundane.
bread
Yeah.
and super lame.
Very good bread, but
I think there's
Delicious
some
bread.
advantages to it. Like I I know you were not, you know, super thrilled with my, you know, my crazy crazy caster, who walked around with his little ball of lightning. But I just thought it was fun to be able to actually be able to do stuff within the scope of the game. It's just up to the GM to figure out what they're going to allow and what they're not.
And they can do that just by having the formula be weird.
Yes.
For things that they don't really want it to be easy to get.
I would want it to be like if they're gonna craft and forge a magic sword, like I want it to mean something. I want it to it should have a name, and you
don't want someone making just a +1 sword. You want someone making Aegis Fang or drawing a blank on any other popular name at the moment.
Twinkle.
You want someone to make something special.
Why don't we just not have it do that? I was cool at the +3 to saving throws and attacks. That was what I was cool with. But I doesn't need to do anything else. If you want it to give you some kind of seeing eye power, then have it be it's got identify in it or something. Something simple. I don't know.
Yeah,
we're getting sidetracked. Well, it's magical formula discussion and philosophy on magic items and other things that.
No, Ted, we're nerds. We need to argue about this.
Yes,
no, Nate.
That's
no,
Nate.
Nate.
Whoever
Nate.
you are, we need to argue about who you are.
Yeah.
That guy over there with the glasses.
Hey, Ted, you're wearing Nate's face, but.
All right, so there we go. The lesser versions just wind up being a universal focus, and it mutates, but it doesn't give you access to the magical formula.
Yes. Yeah, why not? Plus one to 3 is pretty good anyway, on spell attacks and saves.
Right.
Well, we'll leave it at that.
The formula one could be the artifact version.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that's true. That could be the original one.
Yeah. That's what I was going for.
Okay, well, we could do that, and perhaps it gives you the formula for creating a specific magic item. So when you learn to make an item like that, it's actually imprinting on your mind to make Aegis Fang.
Like inspiration.
Yeah. You basically it gives you the reverse engineer, but in your mind, you've just analyzed a magic sword, but that's not the magic sword that you've just discovered how to make. You've discovered to make war song that anytime this thing is drawn for battle, it begins to sing a war hymn, as you lay about your enemies, So great. It's not very good for surprise attacks, but thematically it's very cool. And perhaps magical notes dance across the blade, as if they're being written, as the battle progresses.
Right.
In reality, it's just a +1 sword, or +1 longsword, or whatever. But you can still keep the magic in the game and not turn magic into another form of technology, which I hate.
Right. So, what do you guys think? Do you like this universal focus? Put your thoughts in the comments below. While you're doing that, please feel free to click like, share, even subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
You can check out nerdarchy.com.
Also tweet at us on Twitter.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.